Hey, so what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today's video what I want to talk about is intra-workout supplements, more specifically intra-workout carbohydrates, and are they mandatory to have when we're entering a dieting phase, whether that just be a normal dieting phase or a contest prep phase. And this was a question that was brought up the other day, and this individual was asking me what my take on intra-workout carbohydrates are in regards to a dieting phase, and is it mandatory that we have them in there, or is it okay to leave them out? And they just wanted to know what my opinion on that situation was, and I thought that was a brilliant question, and I thought I'd do a video on here to talk about my thoughts on it, and also to show you guys my current intra-workout stack that I'm using in this contest prep. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to wait for one supplement to arrive, because it's the new latest additional supplement from STROMSPORTS nutrition, and I thought once I get that I'll have a complete stack for my intra-workout, and I can show you exactly everything that I use, and also at the same time I can answer that cool question. So first and foremost, what I'll do is I'll jump into my intra-workout stack that I have here. The cool thing that I love about STROMSPORTS Nutrition is they provide absolutely everything that I need for my intra-workout. So I don't have to have, one supplement from one company, another supplement from another company. I can get everything that I need for my intra-workout, all from STROMSPORTS Nutrition, which is incredibly handy. So delving straight into things, we will start off with the Carbomax. So Carbomax essentially is the carb powders of my intra-workout shake. Just a breakdown of the ingredient profile of Carbomax. We have 25,000 milligrams of carbolin, so essentially 25 grams of carbohydrates. We have citrulline malate at 2,000 milligrams, we have glycerol at 1,000 milligrams, and then an electrolyte complex at 400 milligrams. So the really cool thing about carbolin is essentially it's a homopolysaccharide, and it's made up of different and many different monosaccharides, and the main food sources that are involved in producing carbolin are potato, rice and corn. But the really cool, interesting thing about carbolin is that the molecular mass has been modified. So what this does is it simply allows for quicker absorption through the gastrointestines. So this will prevent any kind of disruption during the training window. So when we're training, obviously we're pulling fluid, oxygen and blood away from the gastrointestinal system and into the actual muscles that we're trying to work. This can lead to like a down regulation and a dysfunctional GI motility. But with the Carbomax, what that does is, like I said, because it has that modified molecular mass, it allows for quicker, rapid absorption of the carbohydrates and everything else that's in my intra shake. So that will prevent and inhibit any kind of gastro distress, any bloating or any kind of discomfort during my training session. So that's one of the really, really cool things about Carbolin and Carbomax. That's why I'm using it at the moment. And then in other cases, if I'm not using Carbomax, I would simply just use something like highly branched cyclic dextrin, because again that is something that has a high molecular weight, so that will aid in quicker absorption of those carbohydrates through the training session. So it will prevent any kind of discomfort, any kind of bloating or distress during your actual training session, which is the main thing that we want. We want to make sure that when we are training, we're putting all that focus on driving the blood to the muscles that we're trying to work. We don't want that blood coming away from that muscle and going into the stomach with fluid and other things to try and help with the absorption of those carbohydrates. That's something that you'll experience when you're using stuff like maltodextrin or dextrose, anything along those lines. They have a lower molecular weight, so that will mean that there's more fluid needed to help with the absorption and transportation of those carbohydrates through the gastrointestinal system. So that's why I'm using Carbomax at the moment, and I say that's one that's really, really helping me at the moment with my training sessions, and it's offsetting any discomfort during the training session, so it's really, really good. Then second of all, we've got the Vascumax Pro. So Vascumax Pro is a hardcore non-stim pre-workout formula. That's what it says on the front, but essentially because it's a non-stim pre-workout, you can essentially use it any time of the day. Some people like to use it first thing in the morning because it does have things in it like beetroot extract at 97% beta vulgaris. That does help lower blood pressure. So for those individuals that are like 250 pounds plus and they might be suffering with high blood pressure, or if you're just somebody who has been predisposed to high blood pressure conditions or situations, then something like beta vulgaris in the VascuMax Pro will help lower your blood pressure. But you can use it as an intra-workout to improve like nitric oxide uptake, improve your pumps during the training session. You can use it intra-workout for the same reasons. You can use it, you know, any time of the day, simply because it's got no stimulants in there. A brief breakdown of this profile. Again, we've got some citrulline malate. This one's got 4,000 milligrams, whereas the Carbomax has 2,000 milligrams. We've got cluster dextrin, we've got glycerol again, we've got betaine HCl. Betaine HCl will just improve digestion. You've got NACL tyrosine, which helps improve your focus. The beetroot extract, 97% beta vulgaris. Again, that's what helps with like VO2 max. It helps with your performance during the training session, and it helps lowering blood pressure. Essentially acts as like a vasodilation or a vasodilator. And it also as well is what gives it that distinctive pink colour. You've got glycine and taurine, which are your amino acids. L-norvaline, which is a arginase inhibitor. What that does is that inhibits the arginines being produced and eventually elevating. So in layman's terms, it allows us to have a longer ability to actually withstand that nitric oxide and have longer pumps during the training session. And then lastly, we have white willow bark. White willow bark acts identically to aspirin, and it helps reduce any kind of pain, discomfort, muscle soreness and inflammation from the training session. And that is that for the VascuMax Pro. And then next up we have the standard one that everybody and then next up we have some essential amino acids. As we all know, it's your EAAs. Pretty much it's the better version than the BCAAs. Now there's still a lot of confusion around about BCAAs and EAAs and what was the better one to have. Essentially we want to be using EAAs. EAAs is our essential amino acids. These are the ones that we cannot naturally produce ourselves. So these are the ones that are more important. BCAAs are part of the essential amino acids. So we have the branched chain amino acids, which is leucine, isoleucine and valine. They are part of the essential amino acids. So with EAAs, what you're doing is you're getting the BCAAs on top of all the other essential amino acids that our body needs. So that's why in my preference, and you know from the studies out there, it shows that it's going to be more beneficial to be using something like an EAA over a BCAA, and essentially you're getting more for your money. You know, you can buy BCAAs and just get 3 of the essential amino acids, or you can get essential amino acids and get all 9 of the amino acids that we need. This also comes with an electrolyte blend. It's got sodium chloride at 333 milligrams and potassium chloride at 166 milligrams. And it's also got the B vitamins in there, B1, B6 and B3, all at 50 milligrams. So it's a great essential amino acid formula, and it's also got the electrolyte blends in there that we know massively helps with cellular hydration, which is crucial during the training session, and it also helps with glucose uptake. We need the sodium there to help with glucose uptake, and we need the electrolytes there for cellular hydration. So, you know, adding that electrolyte blend in with the EAAs, which most commonly you'll see in a lot of formulas nowadays, especially things like pre-workouts and intra-carbohydrate powders, you'll see a lot of electrolyte blends in with the ingredient profile, and now you know why. And then the next thing that we have on the list, which is the new latest installment of supplements from STROMSPORTS Nutrition, and that is Creamax. So essentially it is creatine. This one is 100% Pure creatine monohydrate. There isn't much that you need to say on creatine monohydrate other than the most bioavailable creatine out there is Pure creatine monohydrate. If people start saying that other creatines are better than creatine monohydrate, I would definitely question them and tell them to just do one, because There's so many studies. Creatine is the most studied and researched supplement out there to this day, and it has been shown in many cases that the only one that we need is creatine monohydrate. The clinical dose also is 5 grams. Some people are, still skeptical in regards to water retention with creatine, and do we need to cycle it? What do we do in those scenarios? In regards to water retention, creatine monohydrate does retain water, but only in intracellular sites. So that is within the muscles. You're not going to see that level of water retention that you would on an individual that is holding a lot of fat. So if you're holding a lot of fat, you will hold water in the sub-Q areas. But if you don't have high levels of body fat, if you're in a contest prep and you have very low levels of body fat percentage, you're not going to hold water in those sub-Q areas, so just underneath the skin. The only place that the creatine is going to draw the water and fluid is into the intramuscular sites, so inside your muscles. So that's a good thing. We want that. That's going to obviously aid in muscle fullness and, again, muscle contractions, pumps, etc., that cellular hydration. The other cool thing about Crea Max is that it has an ingredient called actogen. Not estrogen like it is in Maximize, but actogen, and it's spelled ACTIGIN. So actogen has been shown to improve VO2 max, so time to exhaustion. It has also shown to significantly increase glycogen replenishment and reduce inflammation. So this is a very, very, very good creatine monohydrate formula with, let's say, with the additional of the actogen. You get the best of both worlds. So you've got the creatine in there to help with like ATP replenishment, which is going to improve like your performance during a training session and your strength. And then you've got the actogen, which is going to reduce inflammation. It's going to increase your VO2 max, and it will help with the glycogen replenishment from the carbs, the Carbomax, and during the training session, obviously we're depleting glycogen stores to an extent, and then the actogen will help replenish those glycogen stores that we are depleting. So that is my intra-workout shake, what I'm using. And then lastly, we've got the Maximize. Maximize, I take 2 capsules before I begin my training session, and all this essentially does is improves the bioavailability and the uptake of all these supplements here. So certain ingredients in these supplements, the Maximize will improve the bioavailability of it, and the ingredient profile of the Maximize is very straightforward and simple. It's ginger extract at 500 milligrams. That will just essentially help improve digestion. You've got the estrogen at 50 milligrams, which improves the uptake of certain supplements. And then you've got the black pepper extract at 10 milligrams. And all that does is that inhibits an enzyme in the urinary tract, and that essentially allows for this stuff to stay in the system for a longer duration. So that's simply Maximizing job. And I said that's my intra-workout stack that I'm currently using. Now, in regards to that question that was asked about, is it mandatory to have an intra-workout shake carbohydrates during a dieting phase? Essentially, the answer would be no. It's not mandatory. You don't have to have it in there. The answer that I would always give to this question is it depends on your current setup. So if you're going into a dieting phase, if you've just come off the tail end of some kind of off season, a maintenance phase or a mini cut or whatever it may be, and you already have intra-workout carbohydrates in your plan, then you don't need to take them out. They can stay there. If they were already there, you can keep them in. If you never had them there in the first place and you're now entering some kind of contest prep or a dieting phase, I personally would say that you don't need to now implement them. Obviously, yes, things like carbohydrates into workout will help improve, muscle protein synthesis. It will offset muscle protein breakdown. It will improve your performance during the training session. It will aid in recovery capabilities and rates after the training session. So yes, there are benefits of using it, but you don't just have to automatically add it in if it wasn't already there. Again, like I said, it's not mandatory. If you want to, if you have room, so say for argument's sake, if your initial calories and macros going into your dieting phase were considerably high in regards to the carbohydrates, so if you're consuming, let's say, 300 grams of carbohydrates or more. You could, if you wanted to, take 50 grams of those carbohydrates and put that into your intra-workout, if you wanted to. But again, I don't think it is absolutely necessary and essential that you do so. As long as you have your, the workout perimeter meals on point. So if you are, basing most of your macros and your carbohydrates around the workout perimeter in your pre-workout and your post-workout, you should be absolutely fine. I don't see major issues with it. I know in my last contest prep that I done, I never used intra-workouts at all. Let me reiterate that. I never actually used intra-workout carbohydrates in my last contest prep. I used essential amino acids, I used creatine monohydrate, I used those sort of things, but I never actually used intra carbs in my last contest prep. And I personally believe that I done absolutely fine. And for those who have been following me and watched my whole contest prep series, you'll know that the end result was pretty much, it was good enough. And I never saw major, diminishing effects in my training performance or my strength or my recovery capabilities or anything like that with without the intra carbohydrates. So that goes to show, and this is obviously only anecdotally speaking, that you don't essentially need the intra workout carbohydrates in a dieting phase. As I said, if you can afford to remove some carbohydrates from other meals and put them into the intra workout, and if you want to do that, then that's absolutely fine. But what I wouldn't do, and I want to make this absolutely clear, is if your initial macros is 300 grams of carbohydrates, if you are going to put 50 grams of carbs in or 30 grams of carbohydrates in your intra-workout, you don't put that on top of your initial macros. You take that out from somewhere else. So if your initial macros are 300 grams, you take 30 grams away from that or 50 grams away from that, how much ever you want to put into your intra-workout, away from the 300 gram of carbohydrates. You don't add that on top. So hopefully that answers that question. Also gives you a little bit of an insight of my intra-workout stack. As always, I'll keep you updated in regards to what's going on with my contest prep. If I make any manipulations to my intra-workout stack or any other macros, I'm keeping a more frequent update of what's going on the Brutal Muscle forum. So if anybody is on the Brutal Muscle forum, you can go check it out on there. If you're not, go check out their website. It's a really, really cool website. I'll leave the link down in the description below. Other than that, if you have any other questions in regards to these supplements from Strom Sports Nutrition or just them in general, so creatine, pump formulas, intra carbohydrates, or anything else, just leave some questions down below, or you can email me directly on my email, which is in the description below. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.